Okay, so what if the examiner wants that the camel case string, for example, hello good day, right, should be output like this, hello good day, right, where the only capital letter we have is the first letter of the first word, and all the other words do not have, do not begin with a capital letter. So what we want to do is, so we have hello good day. What we want to do is, we don't want to do anything to the first word, so we're going to let it stay as it is, but then we're going to add a space, and this G, this capital letter G should be changed to small g, and the remaining word should stay the same, right? And then we're going to add another space, and then this capital letter D needs to be converted to lowercase, and then it needs to be joined with the rest of the word, right? So this time, this is the output that we want. Okay, so let's understand a basic concept on how to convert a capital letter, for example, to a lowercase letter. See, if A has the ASCII code of if A has the ASCII code, capital A has the ASCII code of 65, then small a, its ASCII code can be found by adding 32 to 65. So the ASCII code is 97 for lowercase a. For example, the ASCII code for capital letter D is 68, right? So if we want to find out the ASCII code of lowercase d, then that is going to be 68 plus 32. So 32 is the value that we need to add to the capital letter or the uppercase ASCII code, and then we can find out the ASCII code of the lowercase. So in this case, it's going to be 68 plus 32 would be 100. So that's how we find out the ASCII code of the lowercase character, and we can do it in the reverse order also. For example, if we know that lowercase e is 101, then what would be the ASCII code of capital E? That would be 101 minus 32, which in this case is going to be 69, right? So 69 is the ASCII code for capital letter E. So this is the constant that either needs to be added or subtracted if you want to find out the corresponding ASCII code in the lowercase or the uppercase. So let us now take a look at the solution. Alright, see, since we want, so once again we've run a loop from 0 to 9, okay, and since we don't want to touch, we don't want to do anything to the first word, the only thing we have to ensure is that this is not a rogue value. So when this loop runs the first time, we say that, if words of 0 is not equal to empty, and it is the first word, if j is also equal to 0, right? So the first time the loop runs, we are checking if the corresponding box is not equal to empty, and also that the value of j is equal to 0. If the value of j equals 0, that means we're still accessing the first box in the array, right? We're still accessing the first box in the array. In that case, we don't want to do anything. Just print the first word, right, and then follow it up with a single space, because we don't want to modify this capital H, right? So what we're going to do is, when j is equal to 0, we're simply going to print the word and follow it up with a space. But if it is not the first word, meaning if j is greater than 0, and also that this word is not equal to our rogue value empty, right? If that's the case, then what are we going to do? This is the first instruction that's going to execute, and let's try and understand how this instruction works. So for example, when j equals 1, 1. So when j equals 1, this is the first, the inner string manipulation function left is the first function that is going to execute, right? And when j equals 1, this becomes what? This becomes left of words of 1 comma 1, right? And this is going to, what this is going to return is left of words 1 comma 1 would return capital G, right? So it will take the string value lying in words of 1, which is good, and then it is going to return just the first character because the length has been specified as 1, so it's just going to return the first character, capital G. So that's what this function is returning, capital G. So when j equals 1, this returns capital G, right? And once this function has executed, once this left function has executed, then the ASCII function is going to execute, ASC, right? And the result is going to be stored into X. And remember that the ASCII code for capital G is 71. So what is going to be stored in X is basically going to be 71. So once this ASCII function executes, what's going to be stored into X is going to be 71. So X will now become equals to 71. Okay, then after that, this is the instruction that gets executed, X equals X plus 32, which basically means what? X equals X plus 32 would mean X equals 71 plus 32. This means X will be equal to 103. So what's stored in X is 103, which is technically the ASCII code of lowercase g, right? And now we are ready to display our output, right? So you're going to use the console.write function. Let's take a look at how this console.write function executes. Okay, so when this instruction executes, the first string manipulation function that executes is chr of x, right? And remember, x has the value 103. So this chr function is going to return the character corresponding to the ASCII code 103, and this would be lowercase g. Remember, j is equal to 1 in this case, right? So we are continuing with our example, j equals 1, right? And how about this mid function? When we this is the second function that's going to execute, right? So when this mid function executes, we are accessing words of 1, right? Because j equals 1, so this becomes words of 1. And then, we have 2 as the position, right? Remember, the mid function takes 3 parameters. It takes a string value, it takes the position, and it takes the length. So the position in this case is 2. The position in our case is 2. The string value is basically words of 1, right? But the length has not been specified, so we've not specified the length. When we've not specified the length, then this string value, which is words of 1, which in this case is what? Good, right? From the second position onwards, this is the second position onwards, all the characters are going to be picked up. So all the remaining characters is going to be picked up, right? So this is going to be returning us the string value starting from the second character. All the remaining characters are going to be picked up, right? So this is going to return us OOD. Now these two are going to be joined together, so because we have this joining operator and in between them, right? So this function executes first, g is returned, this function executes second, OOD is returned, and these two are joined together. So what we have is GOOD displayed in the output. And then this is the third function that executes. This space is output, right? So there's going to be a space here. So this is what happens when j equals 1. Okay, next time the loop runs, the value of j becomes equals to 2. So j becomes equals to 2. And the code pretty much runs the same way. In this case, when this executes, right, this returns us the capital letter D. So once this function x executes, what we technically have is x is equal to ASCII of capital letter D, and then this ASCII function is going to execute, and it's going to convert this character into its corresponding ASCII value, which is in this case, which that is equal to 68, right? So what's going to be saved into x is the x will now become equal to 68. Okay, and when this instruction executes, x becomes equals to 100, and when this instruction executes, this time this function will print small d, this will return small d, and this will return the characters from the second position onwards, which in this case would be, this is the second position, right? And from here onwards the entire string would be AY, and they're going to be joined together because of this AND operator. So what we'll effectively have is day, right, and then that is going to be followed by this space, right? So that's what's going to be output. So this is what happens when j equals 2. When j equals 3, because we've reached a rogue value, right? So this if condition is not going to be true, this is not going to be true. When j equals 4, once again this is a rogue value. So from here onwards, these if conditions are always going to be false. So what is going to be printed is basically when j equals 0, hello will be printed on the screen, followed by a space. When j equals 1, this is the if condition that's going to execute, and then this good is going to be printed on the screen. And then when j equals 2, once again this is the if condition that's going to be executed, and then we're going to have day printed on the screen followed by a space. So I hope you understand how this code works.